Okay, in this lesson we are going to learn about equations as functions. So functions can be represented by an equation or rule. The equation will generate ordered pairs by taking an input that results in a certain output. So when we have a function is a type of thing that where you put something into it, it might multiply that number by a certain number, it might add it, it might subtract it, and then you will get an output, you'll get an answer. So a function, you put a number in, and that's your input, which is x, and then you get an output, that's your y. The graph of an equation is the set of all of its ordered pairs, which often forms a line or a curve. So this picture right here is actually a good representation of a function where we can see an x being put into the function, and then the function's going to tell it to do something to x. Add it by 2, multiply it by 3, subtract it by 4, whatever. And then it's going to give you your output, which is y. Think of a function like a machine that takes an x value and produces a y value. The x value is called the independent variable because you pick it. And the y value is called the dependent variable because its value will depend on the value of x. So what we're doing today is we're going to be graphing functions by making tables. So we're going to be seeing an equation, and the first equation that we have here is y equals x plus 4. And we have a table that already has the x values for us. So what we're going to be doing is taking the function y equals x plus 4, and we're going to be replacing in the following x values in for that function's x, and then solving it out. For example, for the first one, if our equation is y equals x plus 4, and the first x value is -5, what we're going to do is take -5 and replace it in for x. Then we're going to add 4 to it, and we're going to get an output of -1. So our first answer would be -1 for y. Then we do it again with now -4 being the input. We take -4 and we replace it in for x. It turns into -4 plus 4. We solve it out. That equals 0. So when we have x equals -4 as our input, 0 is our output. When we have -2 as our input, -2 gets replaced in for x. We add 4 to it. -2 plus 4 is 2. And then last one, 0. 0 plus 4 is 4. Now what we do is we graph these ordered pairs. So -5, -1 is the first ordered pair. That's going to be here. -4, 0. -2, 2. And 0, 4. Now, right now I have just 4 random ordered pairs, but technically equations are continuous. So equations, I'm just going to write it up here. Equations are continuous. So no matter what values they give you for the table, technically you would take your points and you would connect them with a line or a curve. In this case, it's going to be a straight line. We'll put arrows going both directions. Because the table values that they give you in this case are just like random 4 x values, but we could use any x value and then just add 4 to it and get an output. There will be specific problems where it's not that case, but that's how it works. So for like number 2, our new equation is y equals 3/4 x minus 2, and this is totally fine that you can use your calculator to type it all in. What you would do here in this case is do -4 times 3/4 first, and -4 times 3/4 is going to give you -3, and -3 minus 2 gives you -5. 3/4 times 0, that's 0, and 0 minus 2 is -2. 3/4 times 4, that's 3. 3 minus 2 is 1. 3/4 times 8 is 6, and 6 minus 2 is 4. So here are the ordered pairs we have now. And we're going to plot them. And 8, 4 is not going to fit on there, so all we're going to be able to fit in are these 3 points here. Oops, that's not a straight line. But go ahead and pause this video and try the next two. Okay, going over the answers of the next two, we're going to have -6, -3, 0, and 3 as our ordered pairs. Plotting them, the graph will look like this. And then we would, oops, this should be 1, 3. Then we would connect the points. And for the next one, we have 5, 2, -1, -4. Okay. Alrighty, so moving on to the next topic here. Okay, we have some more equations on the next page, which you can pause this video and try these out. And then we would get 4, 2, 1, and -3. So again, we're just practicing creating our equations. To create these lines. For this one, we're going to get 2, 1, 0, and -1. Okay, and then for the last topic, so in the last section here, what we have is a function like number 7, y equals x minus 5, and they tell us that the domain is specifically 4, 6, and 8. So this one's going to be a little bit different than the graphs that we saw previously, because for these graphs, they're giving us just random x values in the table, but the equations do go on forever. They're continuous. But for this situation, they're telling us that for the table, specifically, the x values are only 4, 6, and 8. They want us to find the range values given this domain. So what we would have to do is create a table, I think is the best way to do it. We're going to then replace 4 in for x, 6 in for x, 8 in for x, and get our answers. When I replace 4 in for x, 4 minus 5 is -1, 6 minus 5 is 1, 8 minus 5 is 3. In the end, what it wants us to do is find the range values. So what we would do from here is actually answer the question. The range is not going to be an inequality. These are not continuous. These are discrete, since they're telling us the domain is specifically just 4, 6, and 8. So the range, in order from least to greatest, would be specifically -1, 1, and 3. So this would actually be the answer. The table helps us get the answer, but the actual answer would be the 3 outputs that we get in this situation. So the next one, we're going to create a table. This table has domain values of -1, 0, 1, and 4. So we replace these 4 numbers in for x and solve it out. 3 times -1 is -3. -3 plus 1 is -2. 3 times 0 is 0. 0 plus 1 is 1. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 plus 1 is 4. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 plus 1 is 13. So the actual answer, the range for this problem, would be -2, 1, 4, and 13, separated by commas. Go ahead and press pause and try the rest on this page. So for the rest of the problems on this page, you would want to create a table, But what I'm going to do is just write the answers. The range for number 9 is -1, 1, and 6. For number 10, the range is -4, 2, and 5. For 11, the range is 4, 7, and 9. For 12, the range is 7, 13, and 17. For 13, the range is -13, 11, and 19. And for 14, the range is -7, -6, and -2. So that's the lesson. What you're going to do now is complete the homework, which is not this page. We're actually going to do this when I'm back on Monday. But it's going to be this page right here, which is just one page. So it's homework 3, and it's numbers 1 through 10. This will be due on Monday morning.